there's a story that your sister talks about when she's actually flying in the air. And I'm just going to pick it up. It says, as the hours passed and I repeatedly transferred fuel, I found that whenever I moved 15 or 20 gallons, which is 90 to 120 pounds, from the cabin to the right wing, it changed the center of gravity forward, and I had to turn off the autopilot, retrim it for the hands-off flying, and then turn it back on. Once I forgot to do this, and the airplane started behaving crazily, which frightened me for a minute. But once retrimmed, Charlie settled down like the good airplane he was. I love how she talks about her airplane as this close friend, and she viewed her plane that way too, didn't she?
This plane was her companion. It was the two of them making this flight. She had a lot of trust in that plane. She knew it was a strong plane. And by being a single engine, actually, a flight like this was easier than a twin engine. Some people would say, but if you have two engines and one dies, you still have one. But if it's a twin engine plane and one dies, it's not the same as a single engine airplane.
Right.
And a single engine airplane uses less gasoline also.
Now this idea of trimming, knowing some piloting myself, what she would have been doing was she would have been using her hand to manually adjust
Yes.
the plane so that as the aerodynamics hold, the plane is staying level. And what she's saying, with less weight and transferring the fuel, that movement
Sure.
was out of kilter. So as she is flying, she's having to make adjustments, constantly making adjustments, maybe not every minute, but every hour. When she is doing this movement, she's making adjustments. She knew where she was going. She had a way to get to that. She's in a single engine plane, trusts the equipment, but also has to use her mind to continue to make hand adjustments to calibrate that plane to do the right thing.
And what other private pilot is going to be in a situation like this where they would even have any idea what to do?
The pilots are taught how to trim a plane,
Yes.
and the good of that is, again, she had been educated on what to do.
Right.
She knew how to do it. It wasn't a scary thought, but for a lot of us, the idea of what's happening, my nose is going up, my plane's ascending, or I'm trying to hold it and it's wanting to maneuver, it's simple adjustment, and in the hand of an expert,
Right.
that simple adjustment made all the difference in the world.
And other private pilots know about trimming the plane, but they're not usually in a situation where they're changing from one fuel tank to another.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot more to it.
All right, well, thank you.